Good day, good day, everybody. Welcome to June. The joyous June is what I like to call it. Happy Pride Month and happy Black Music Month. There's a lot going on in June, including our Harambee June Wednesday refresh. So I am revmelissa. I am the spiritual director, senior minister at Rockland Centers for Spiritual Living in New York. And I am thrilled to be with everyone today to bring a refresh to our June theme. So before I start, I just want to acknowledge the rest of the June team. That is D. Jacqueline Edwards, Deborah Gale, and Carolyn Douglas. So I'm grateful to be a part of the team, and I'm grateful to Tracy Brown for putting this all together. So the Wednesday refresh purpose is to give you that little something you may need in the middle of the month. And it's also to provide another perspective on the Centers for Spiritual Living themes and topics. So it's a refresh from our Sunday talks. As a reminder, our annual theme for 2023 is Living Out Loud, which I really love. And our theme for June is Embracing Self-Care, another thing that I really love. The message is the evolution of self-care. So I like to start with definitions. So, embrace, to avail oneself, to encircle. And this definition I especially love, the second one, to take in with the eye or the mind. To take in with the eye or the mind. Definition for embrace. The origins of the word is Old French, meaning a pair of arms. So the vibration of embrace is a pair of arms. Definition for self-care, the act of attending to one's physical or mental health, the practice used to comfort or soothe oneself. And self-care was first recorded in the 1860s. So let me ask you all, what are some of your self-care practices? You could put them in the comments so we could share and see with each other throughout the month. What are some of your self-care practices? So some of mine are my daily spiritual practice, which is inspirational reading, inspirational journaling, prayer, and transcendental meditation. My commitment to my Sabbath day is really important to me. Really important to me. Rest, one of the self-care things that I am challenged with, I have to say. Walking in nature, I love to do that. Practicing asking for help, huge practice for me. And going to the movies with myself. I enjoy going to the movies with myself. So I want to share a description that Sean Genwright provides us in his book, The Four Pivots: Reimagining Justice, Reimagining Ourselves. This is what he says. The term self-care, while important, reinforces the idea that we are separate, disconnected, and independent from one another. We know from the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 that our well-being is deeply interconnected, and that if one of us is sick, we are all at risk. This is why I use the term collective care, not to discount the value of your massage, your warm bath, or your quiet walk in the park, but rather to cultivate an awareness that caring for ourselves is deeply connected to the well-being and concern of others. This is fundamentally what our movements for justice are based on. And there are no movements without shared concern and care for others. So we're talking about the evolution of self-care, right? Let's look at the definition for evolution. Evolution, any process of formation or growth, a process of gradual, peaceful, progressive change or development. The origins is Latin, meaning an unrolling. I like that, y'all. An unrolling or an opening. And we may be familiar with the term evolution as part of the natural selection theory first proposed in the 19th century by Charles Darwin. But Sean, he's inviting us to expand and evolve on our definition of self-care by cultivating an awareness that caring for ourselves is deeply connected to the well-being and concern of others. I think I am liking this evolution. So, what is the evolution of self-care? So, I want to offer that the evolution of self-care is collective, communal consciousness care. Collective, communal consciousness care. The evolution of self-care is when we recognize that we are not in this all by ourselves. The evolution of self-care is recognizing that when someone in the community is not well, then all is not well. All is not well until we are all well, because we are in this thing called life together. The evolution of self-care is recognizing that care goes beyond the individual. It is collective, communal consciousness care. Collective, communal consciousness care. Yes, this is what we get to embrace to evolve. So this is ancient wisdom of New Thought, right? Our African ancestry is rooted in collective, communal consciousness care. This is the Afrocentric lens of collective care. So we are being invited to transform the me consciousness to the we consciousness. What are we embracing? Are we embracing the me, or are we embracing the we? So I know that someone out there is saying, it could be and both. Couldn't it be and both? Well, this is what I would like to offer. I would like to offer that the evolution is deeper than an and both, because the me is embedded in the we. We are not separate. Me is in the oneness of we. Me is in the oneness of we. So we see the historic and the current day demonstration of a collective consciousness rooted in the individual, in the consciousness of me. We see that historically, and we see that current day. So in the teachings, we get to practice what Ernest Holmes and what our ancestors know already, that it is a collective communal consciousness care. But Ernest Holmes puts it this way in the teachings. He calls it creative principle of involution and evolution. This is what he writes in the Science of Mind text. I'm quoting from Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind. Involution is the creation of the concept. Involution is the inworking of the conscious. Involution is a conscious act. Evolution is the outworking of the mechanical. Evolution is the time or process it takes for the concept to become manifest. I just think he's wanting to fall down. Okay. Evolution is an effect of intelligence and not the cause of it. The thought is involved, involution, and the result is evolved, evolution. So whatever is involved will evolve. The evolution is an effect of the involution of each self. Of each self. We talk about self-care of each self. So leave no self behind is the outworking of the evolution of self-care. This is the consciousness rooted in the collective communal consciousness care of we. Remember the definition. Embracing is to avail oneself of, to take in with the eye or the mind. The evolution of self-care requires that we avail ourselves to one another, that we keep an eye on each other, that we see each other, that we hold each other in mind, in the one mind, in the mind that is the consciousness of who we truly are. So remember, the origin of the word embrace is a pair of arms. That is the vibrational code. Embrace. The evolution of self-care requires that we have our arms around each other, holding each other up when we feel like we're going to fall down, when we feel our vibration is low, when we are running on empty. Yes? The evolution of self-care is our collective capacity to express concern and empathy for one another. The core value and belief is I can't really be well if my community isn't well also. There's a part in the book, The Four Pivots by Sean Jenwright, where he talks about the connection between care and justice. And he says that care and justice goes together like peanut butter and jelly. And I was like, yes, Sean, that is the truth. He said, we cannot separate justice from caring. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. And so that made me think about CSL's global vision, right? The global vision is a world that works for everyone, creating a world that works for everyone. Well, CSL, we need more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? Because justice and care cannot be separated. They have to be together. So we're going to need a lot more peanut butter and jelly. There must be justice for a world to work for everyone. Justice is embedded in the evolution of individual self-care to a collective communal consciousness care that must involve everyone. This is not an illusion. It is the reality. Yes? Sean also writes, care is also the actions we must take that say, you matter to me. What you think, how you feel, what is happening in your life is important to me too. That reminds me of the African philosophy, Ubuntu, right? Ubuntu means I am because you are. The interconnectedness of life guarantees that we will go further by going together. And I love the way Desmond Tutu puts it. He says, a person is a person through other persons. You can't be human all by yourself. We think of ourselves far too frequently as individuals separated from one another, whereas you are connected and what you do affects the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out. It is for the whole of humanity. Amen, Bishop Tutu. So we remember that the origin of the word evolution that I shared is an unrolling and opening. The evolution of self-care is an unrolling of who we are to each other, for each other, and as each other. I am because you are. I am because you are. Say it with me. I am because you are. So in closing, I want to highlight one of Sean's Jenwright's ideas from the book, The Four Pivots, that we can practice this month. He writes, we are all born with empathy and the capacity to care for each other. The trick is we are socialized in ways that move us away from caring. We need to make space for care and empathy in our daily lives and in our work lives. So this is what I offer as a practice. Initiate an emotional check-in with someone in your community. Initiate an emotional check-in because the evolution of self-care is what? A collective communal consciousness care. That is what we are inviting in for the month of June. Will you participate? Will you participate? So peace and blessings, everybody. Have a wonderful June. I am because you are.